If you're a kitchen newbie, then I hope that you'll find this interesting. I wanted to talk to you today about basil. Basil, however you say it, is the right way. Basil is an ordinary garden variety type of herb. It has these kind of flat leaves to it. They're very smooth. There's two kinds of basil. There's Thai basil, which is very, very peppery. And then there's this variety that you can use in all of your cooking or in your salads, things like that. So I wanted to tell you a little bit more about it. So what does my handy dandy vegetarian flavor Bible say about it? It says that basil is slightly sweet, it's fragrant, has pungent notes of anise, cinnamon, citrus, cloves, licorice, mint, and pepper. There's very complex flavors in there. And this is the kind of an herb that you would add just before serving. And it adds a note of freshness to a dish. Now there's a big difference between fresh basil and dried basil. This is dried basil. The difference between this and this basil is that there's no moisture in this. This is full of water because it's still growing. But when this is dried, all of the essential oils become concentrated. So you could add this at the beginning of your cooking to extract those flavors. You don't want to add this at the end. But this kind of, when it's fresh like this, you want to add this at the very end of your cooking because it gets wilty. It doesn't add much eye appeal. And it doesn't have all the same kinds of flavors as the dried basil does. The rule of thumb, when you're using dried basil versus fresh basil, is that, say if your recipe calls for one tablespoon of dried, then you're going to use 1.5 tablespoons of fresh. And the other way around, if it calls for a tablespoon of fresh and you only have dried, then you're going to cut that by 2/3. So that's it. That's how you tell the difference. So when you bring your basil home from the grocery store, you know you can take clippings of this and then you can plant them, and you'll always have basil growing in your kitchen in a pot or in your garden. So when I brought mine home, I just took a little snip. Oh, my leaves are all stuck together here. Right down at the bottom, okay? Just took a little snip, and then it can just go into a vase, like so. Oops. It can be just a jar, or you can put it into a nice vase. So this is going to get some roots on it, which is quite interesting. I planted this about 4 or 5 days ago, or put this in water 4 or 5 days ago, and this is the root system on it now. So I can plant this in another pot, and I'll have another basil plant growing. So I won't ever run out. If I keep cutting and rooting, then I'll always have something going. Now, what if you're storing cut basil? Sometimes you can only buy it when it's already cut. It doesn't like to be banged up. It doesn't like to be bruised. It doesn't like any kind of lots of motion to it, or else it gets really wilty really fast. So if you have a glass jar, or say something like this, all you do, if you have a bunch of it, you can just put it into something like this. It has to be glass, okay? And this will stay fresh on your counter for about 4 or 5 days. And the funny thing is it won't go wilty. It'll start to develop a little bit of mold. So this is how you can keep your basil fresh for use if you get too much. Or you can always just trim it and put it in some water, let it get some roots, and grow it. So that's what I wanted to show you today about basil. It's a really beautiful herb to use, and I hope that this little tutorial was helpful. Thanks for watching. My name's Jill. Have a great day.